He had been doing it for 6 weeks before they started to wonder if he was trying to tell them something. Looking back, the wondering should have come sooner. It didn't. They were busy. They were new parents. They had a dog doing something unusual every morning, and 100 other things to think about. That is the thing about signs you don't know to read. They accumulate quietly until the moment they don't. Nina and Garrett Tanaka had a 20-month-old son named Owen and a 3-year-old golden retriever named Biscuit, who had arrived at their house as a puppy with approximately no capacity for stillness, and had slowly, over 3 years, developed into the version of himself that Owen had been born into: patient, warm, present, and possessed of a gentle attentiveness that Nina had once described to her sister as almost embarrassing in how much it looked like love. The behavior started when Owen was around 17 months old. Biscuit began sitting in front of him in the mornings, directly in front, close, face to face. He would lower his head to Owen's level and hold it there, looking at the boy's eyes, not nudging, not licking, not asking for anything, just looking. The eye contact was specific, deliberate. Biscuit would hold Owen's gaze, or attempt to, for 10, 15, sometimes 20 seconds at a time before Owen's attention moved. Nina mentioned it to Garrett on the 2nd week. "He doesn't usually care about eye contact," Garrett said. "Maybe he's gotten more affectionate since the baby came." Nina accepted this. It was a reasonable explanation. It was also the explanation she wanted. On the 4th week, she said it differently. "He does it every morning. He positions himself right in front of Owen's face. He's looking at his eyes specifically." Garrett was quiet for a moment and said, "Maybe he's trying to play." Nina didn't push back. She filed it. She kept watching. By week 6, she had noticed something else. Biscuit only did it in the morning, in the window between breakfast and the first nap. He only sat on Owen's left side. He only sustained the behavior if Owen was relatively still. It was not random. It had a structure she couldn't account for with any of the standard explanations. Attention-seeking, boredom, overbonding. It felt, the word she used when she finally called their pediatrician, intentional. The pediatrician referred them to a developmental pediatrician, not because of the dog's behavior, because when Nina described her 6 weeks of watching, some of what she described about Owen had attached itself to what the pediatrician already knew about her son from his 18-month visit, and the combination formed a shape that warranted a closer look. If you stay for stories about what animals sense before we do, you're in the right place. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Dr. Amara Tete, developmental pediatrician, saw Owen for 2 hours on a Thursday morning. She was systematic, warm, specific in her observations in the way that people who have spent decades looking at something very carefully become specific. She saw what she saw. She took her notes. In the family session afterward, she told them that Owen was showing a constellation of early developmental indicators consistent with autism spectrum disorder. She would want to see him again. She would want a speech evaluation. She would want to track certain things over the next several months. She said all of this clearly and with the particular practiced gentleness of someone who had delivered this information many times and understood its weight. Garrett left the room. Nina sat. Then Nina said, "Our dog has been staring at his eyes every morning for 6 weeks." Dr. Tete was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "There are documented cases of dogs, particularly breeds with high social bonding, who respond to early autism indicators in children they live with. Eye contact differences, social reciprocity patterns, specific vocal and physical cues. Some dogs appear to provide spontaneous therapeutic interaction. Some attempt to elicit eye contact. There is real research emerging on this." She paused. She said, "He may have noticed something in the social interaction patterns before the formal evaluation found the words for it. Has your dog ever done something you couldn't explain until it was the only thing that made sense? Tell us in the comments. These stories deserve to be heard." Nina drove home alone. Garrett had driven separately. She sat in the driveway for a few minutes and thought about 6 weeks of mornings. Biscuit in front of Owen at 7:15. That specific position, that specific gaze, that specific patience, that was nothing like his usual behavior with adults or guests or anyone else in that house. He had chosen Owen specifically. He had developed something targeted, structured, and repeated around the part of Owen that the evaluation had now named. He had not fixed anything. He had not diagnosed anything. He had not done what a trained therapy dog does through hours of deliberate conditioning. He had simply been close to a child he loved and in that closeness, he had noticed something and responded to it in the only way available to him, with presence, and with an attempt at connection, offered every morning, on the left side, face to face. Every guardian deserves to be recognized, even the ones who never asked for anything in return. If stories like this matter to you, subscribe so you never miss the next one. Owen is in early intervention now. He is doing well, the phrase his therapists use, is responding strongly, which means something specific in that world and is a good thing to hear. He and Biscuit still do the morning thing. Owen has started in the last 2 months. Looking back, not every time, not for as long. But the eye contact is there in flickers that it wasn't before, and the people who track these things say that's exactly the direction to be going in. The next story is about a Bernese mountain dog who refused to let a crawling baby near the back wall of the playroom and what was living inside it. Biscuit sits on Owen's left side every morning at 7:15, face level, patient, present. Owen reaches out sometimes and puts one hand on the dog's nose. Biscuit goes still. He always goes still.